Hi everyone, Clint from Cbuilt, one of two directors of Cbuilt Properties. Welcome to our first podcast. Definitely something a bit different with us and very excited to start this.
Mate, I'm bloody rapt to be here. Do you want to maybe introduce me first
Yes.
and our connection and how we know each other?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I mean, Wade, I've known Wade for, a couple of years now?
Yeah.
And we've caught up at a footy function.
We know each other from different industries.
Different industry, yep, that's right. So it's but you know, Wade actually was the first person to actually put this in front of me and actually come to me and mention a podcast. And you know, at the start I was like, oh, what, me? You know, podcast? No one cares about me and no one cares about the company. But really thought about that and you know, I suppose the one of the things in particular is just being a bit of an advocate for the small businesses and small builders around. So you know, if you can make a bit of a change and you can do something for the industry, then why not? Like, give it a go and then yeah.
Well, so our relationship stems. So I was previously. So I'm actually a co-host of a podcast called Dawson D.
Dawson D.
And
right,
then
make sure you guys follow that on.
So we actually produce podcasts for businesses as well, and obviously got a good relationship with Clint through previous industry I was involved in, and yeah, we got along really well and chatted it out. And when we caught up more recent, I mentioned the idea of a podcast, and it's probably something that is lacking in this industry, and we nutted it out and tried to think about what this podcast could be, you know, good for. And there's so many things that we don't know about. And me, myself, I've never built a house before, but if I do want to build one, I wouldn't know where to start, mate. So I think this is the purpose of the podcast, is to educate.
Yeah, educate. Look, I think, you know, there's especially recently, there's been a lot of negativity in the industry. And I suppose it's one of those things to just voice my opinion on the industry, where it's heading. And also it's just to showcase our company and the passion that we have for it. Yeah, sure, there's challenges, and sure, there's days that you don't like it, and I think that's in any business. I think that's just normal. But yeah, there's definitely challenges, and then there's a lot of pros, there's a lot of cons, you know. So we just sort of narrow out where it sort of goes.
So maybe let's start with the story of Cbuilt Properties.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're one of two directors, and the other director is
Cameron.
your brother, Cameron.
Yep.
Maybe share with the listeners a bit more about the beginning, because we see where Cbuilt is now. Maybe share a little bit about the start and how long you guys have been going.
Yeah, look, I think it's probably about 15 years now. It was about 2010, 2011 when we both built our homes right next to each other.
Jeez, is that a good or bad thing?
Thank God we're out of those homes now. But no, that's it. Look, we sort of had a strategy from the start. I think it was my dad that sort of put it to us that you know, Cameron, go get your builder's license. And back then it was the building commission. It was things have changed since then. Cameron was very young when he got his builder's license. And it was sort of the strategy was, I learned more of the on-site work. Cameron learns more of the books. So he did his diploma in building and construction, and then got his license with the building commission. You know, from what I hear from Cam, it was pretty casual license, but things have definitely changed since then. And it's so lucky that we were actually able to. It was just the right timing to get your license, because things are a lot harder to get your license now. We're both DBU holders, but our first strategy was, I learn on site, he learns the books, and then we both collaborate together in the end. So
for you as the builder yourself, have you always been someone who loves, you know, building things and being creative and then getting to where you are now? Where did it start for you? As in the love for building? Because you said, like, when we've spoken off air and, you know, we've had chats on the phone, you if you're not at work, you're still working on your craft at home, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if I'm not on the tools at home, believe it or not, like, some days on the tools you get a bit frustrated, but it's like when you're at home and you put the nail bag on, you're just in your happy place. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what the hell it is. I just work on the house. And I'm lucky enough to have a beautiful family that I built my home, and whether it's our forever home or whatever it is, it may or may not be. I'm just lucky in a sense that I can provide that to the kids and to my wife. That the same with Cameron as well. He built his home. I think every single home that we've lived in, we've built. That in itself is pretty special. And I think it's one of those things that the kids have really taken into. They seriously think that we build every single home, that they look at. So it's quite funny. When we, for one example, we flew into Maroochydore Airport, and Ava looked out the plane window and said, "Dad, did you build those homes?"
I love it.
I said, not just yet. Maybe ask me in 15, 20 years time, maybe. But look, I don't want to be that big. Don't get me wrong. But that's the sort of special things that you get from and a huge positive that you get from this.
One of the biggest probably challenges for anyone wanting to buy a house, or when you think of like making an investment, so buying your first home or wanting to build your first home is probably almost one of the biggest financial decisions of your life, right?
It is.
And one thing that so many people need to be mindful of is that word trust. And we're always a bit hesitant on who we trust. I would love to know a little bit more around how does someone who come into a smaller builder or a medium-sized builder or a larger builder, where do you find that trust? And how can you break through that barrier and trust the builder and know that they're going to look after you? You're not just another number.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard one because a lot of people go with the volume builders because they've been around. They've been around for so long. But recently we've seen, I'm not going to mention any names, but recently we've seen those builders and some of them go sort of into liquidation or
go under.
Go under. So it's been very surprising and shocking to see that. And I think also there's been negativity with small builders too. And the media doesn't help with that too. Every single ad in the paper, another builder is gone down. But then really if you read into it, you read the fine lines about it, it's a builder over in WA or something like that. Who knows where it is. Sure, the construction industry in Victoria is facing huge challenges. Investors are sort of not showing much interest because of a few things. Land tax come in, a few various other issues have come about, and homeowners are struggling with the interest rates and how they've crept up at record pace. So that there, where I think everyone's feeling it. But in terms of, some people like the feeling of, I'm going to stick with a volume builder this time because I just feel that I'm more comfortable. I may not get the product. The product may not be exactly what I'll get from a small builder and a more quality boutique builder, but at least I'll get the job done. But, it's not the case. I mean, I mentioned to you the other day, or just off air, I think it was one of those things that I said. I had one client say that, I reached out to you guys. I thought we were out of your league. And then sure enough, you're building my home. So that there, it's pretty. And we
will be touching on that in more depth in episode 2. We'll be debunking that myth of, those people who might think that the smaller builder is more expensive and more boutique. We'll be chatting about that in the next episode. How do you choose a builder? Because there's so many builders out there. How does someone choose a builder?
Yeah, look, I mean, there's a lot of good builders out there. I suppose it's what builder. There are niche areas that each builder sort of works in, and I know a lot of small builders like us that I could name a few off the top of my hands, and I know that they're very good builders. And you know what? We stay in touch. We talk because if they're helping me out, I'm helping them out, with ideas for trades and this, that, the other. So you really need to be in connection with those guys. But I think you need to look at the where are they specialising in. So, we specialise in custom homes and unit developments. So that could be for investors or anything like that. Developers, we specialise in that, and also custom homes. Design and construct is one of the things too. So you need to narrow out what market. We don't go into the big housing estates. Not at all really, because you're just eaten up by the big boys, and that's unfortunately that's the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah. So this first episode, just to preface to everyone, we've probably been going a bit now, but this is all about you and the company. So we're not necessarily going to be talking about a specific topic. This is a great opportunity to talk about Cbuilt, and that's what we want to do with this first episode. Maybe let's go to your ideal, I guess, avatar or demographic on your ideal customer, and then maybe a bit about the point of difference.
Yep.
I think that's really important for the listeners to know.
I mean, an ideal customer is obviously someone who's going to work with the builder too. And a healthy builder is a healthy margin, and that in particular is a huge, huge positive. Now, sure, we've had challenges with COVID and supply increases and things like that, but if there's a healthy margin there, then the relationship's going to be healthy. So someone who can come on site, talk to the builder, talk to the carpenters, say hello, and things like that, it's someone who can work with. You got to work with the builder. You have to. I had a client just a few months ago leave an esky with a lot of snacks and stuff on the site for the brickies.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And they had like a little letter from their kids. They made a little.
How good's that?
Like they made like a colour. Yeah, they drew like photos of the bricklayer and things like that. And it was like have some snacks, and there was Coke. I didn't eat it, but I looked at the esky. If a couple of days later, it was empty. So
yeah, of course.
There you go.
Well, it's actually really interesting you say that, because even I remember when I was a kid, and we never got an extension built on the house, but I remember even just something as simple as building a deck on the house, and it might have taken them. Well, they could probably whip up a deck in a day, but back they might have had other jobs, so they made it come and gone a couple of times. Yeah. But there's people that might be having an extension built on their house, and they're at the house every week, so they kind of do build a relationship with whoever is buying it.
Absolutely. Like I love it when
the kids,
for sure, and that's the best thing about it. Like I love it when the client comes on sites and just asks you questions about, even though it's like any question's not a dumb question. Like they don't know our trade, so it's like when a client's interested in our work, there's a lot of like, I'm a carpenter by trade, so there's a lot of work that goes into. Sure, you've got to have tools, but you've got to have the smarts as well. There's a lot of, and you've got to be creative too. So there's a lot of work that has been done for many, many years before it actually comes to, what you see. So there's a lot of you're expert in that field. So it's interesting when clients come and actually ask a question.
Yeah, I know we kind of already touched on that trust element, but when it comes to a business, you were saying before that it can almost take 10 years, up to a decade, for especially in the building industry, for the company to actually get through what is technically a really, really tough time. I think the percentage of anyone starting a business, they say, if you get through the first 2 years, you're now an established profitable business.
I mean, back in a good condition economy, which is very unlikely to have because it's always up and down. It's like a roller coaster. They used to say it was 2 years if you're still operating in 2 years' time, then you're an established business. But in a building company, you're 10 years. If you're still operating after 10 years' time, then you're classified established. But even still, you feel the challenges. You're always going to feel challenges throughout even if you've been going longer than 10 years. So, but yeah, definitely it's a minimum of 10 years, I would say. And then some people might disagree. Some people might agree,
So as the years have gone on, obviously the team is built, but it all started with you and your brother. Do you want to maybe explain a bit more around who is involved and how many people are at Cbuilt?
Yeah, look, 2 directors, myself and Cameron, and we've got Sabby, who helps with the books, Lynn, who helps in the office, and Nicole, who helps with contract administrating, and she's also an interior and exterior designer too. So she helps out in terms of colour selections and sort of guides the client in terms of what colours they should select, internal and external. So
yeah, no, beautiful. And then on site, a few boys
on site. Yep, there's I usually put the nail bag on, which is
so you still got the nail bag on?
Yeah, well, I got rid of the 15-year-old one. Like you saw that video of me throwing out that 15-year-old one, and
got to upgrade, mate.
Got to upgrade. Yeah. I've upgraded to the new shoulder strap one, so it's comfortable.
I like that too, mate, because being you don't just talk the talk, you walk the walk too. You're actually building yourself.
Yeah, we both do. Like Cam and myself. Cam loves the truck and drives around, does the cycling, loves the bobcat. And then it does a lot of the machinery work. And then we've got the two apprentices, Ethan and Will. And Ethan will watch his introduction.
Yeah, we've got a couple of videos of the boys introducing themselves. So we'll give them a watch.
Yep. Hi, my name's Ethan. I'm 21 years old and I'm a third-year apprentice here with Cbuilt.
And then we have Will. He's just turned qualified probably about 2 weeks ago. And we'll listen to his introduction.
Hi, my name's Will. I'm a fully qualified carpenter with Cbuilt.
That's good.
Yeah,
it's good. The boys
they're good boys.
Yeah, that's good,
Yeah.
and that's obviously really important. Obviously, they didn't say a lot there. Is there? Surely you've got something to. They obviously have to be on site, so they can't be here.
Well,
right
the other
now.
day, Ethan was half an hour late to site.
Oh, there you go. Bit of a reprimand there.
And then just I think it was yesterday, the day before, Will almost lost my credit card.
Oh,
so
no. Come on, boys.
I said, hey Will, can you pick up some things from Total Tools for me because you're out in that way. Yeah, no worries. I get a phone call from Total Tools saying,
they've left it there.
Mate, he's dropped the credit card. It's got your name on it.
Oh, no.
Will.
Come on, Will.
But other than that, mate, they're good boys. And the thing is we're trying to create a good culture around us, around Cbuilt, and trying to be positive on site because sometimes, there are those days that it's very cold, it's very hot. If you do have that positive sort of approach on site and you have a bit of a laugh, we just went down to the beach. We took the boys down to the beach, had a bit of time out in the weekend down there, just couple of weekends ago, which was good. So
and maybe on that as well, Clint, you've spoken to us pretty openly about the industry, obviously today so far, but with getting people in to work within the building industry, how has that been? Has that evolved and changed? Is there a lack of builders in terms of young builders coming through and learning, or is there too many? What's the current dynamic?
Look, I think it is a challenging job, physically, definitely physically, and mentally too. I mean, when you're getting out there, I don't want to sound like I'm a sportsman or anything, but as a young guy trying to get into as an apprentice, 16, 17, if you're 18 at the latest, really, I suppose, or a mature age even. You're getting out to the site at 7 o'clock. It could be 1 degree, 2 degrees, 0 degrees in winter, in the middle of winter. Hands are freezing cold. You need to start moving to get, and you're working a full day. Summer, 35, 40 degrees. Sure that we try and limit to a 35-degree day and then call it quits. Sometimes the job just needs to get done. So there are challenging things about the job, but it's also there's a lot of pros about it too. I mean, there's a lot of positive things. Like you after you build the house, you look back at it and you go, I just built that. I helped build that. I helped build that. So a lot of the things that the boys are now starting to appreciate too, because the more responsibility you give them, the more appreciation they have of the job. So, and satisfaction too. So, the boys are lapping all of that up at the moment. So,
No, you're only as good as the people around you. So, you know, you've
exactly
obviously spent a lot of time with them, and you've probably spent a lot of time actually. People maybe that used to be involved with the business aren't anymore, but you are where you are because of everyone that was involved.
Look, there's a lot of frustrating times too with the boys when you're trying to teach someone. So, you know, sometimes that gets the best of you, but you got to stay firm and you know someone. You know, so like we're always trying. This is probably one of the reasons why I've gotten onto this podcast is because we're always trying to encourage young guys to come into the industry, because the less we have of that is the less time we have in this job. I can't be doing this for another 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
You know, I'd be 65, 70. I can't be knocking up a frame.
Nah.
You'll
be getting a hip replacement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope not. but you know, that's what we're trying to do. And one thing that AI cannot take over, I mean, they could probably make it a little bit easier. One thing AI can't take over is building houses, and that's because everything is just man-made.
It's a good point, mate. Like the word in itself is always changing, and we have to keep up with the times. Maybe can you touch on the building industry, how it's evolved over the years, and then obviously the confidence within the industry itself too? Yeah,
I think I've seen the building industry change completely. Like new products, better products, longer lasting products. In terms of expertise from the actual builder itself, we're learning a lot more. I mean, a lot goes into obviously we've got huge changes with the building code, the livable housing design standard, which is here, that we'll probably touch bases on. Big changes in terms of there's an aging. What they're trying to do is there's an aging population, so they're trying to design homes to be able to cater for them when they're older, because there's physically not enough nursing homes or elderly homes for them to go into. So they're trying to build houses to be able to cater for that. So housing standards have gone up, and they're trying their hardest with the new codes here, but for some reason, a lot of standards in terms of builders have gone down. There's a lot of negativity in terms of build qualities around, I'm not going to name any names or anything like that, but you see a lot of it in the news. You see a lot of it on social media, circulating on social media, it's a funny thing. You wonder, because I know the application, how difficult it is to become registered practitioner. Registered building practitioner. I know how hard it is, and so you wonder how it all gets passed and gets through, and how I don't know. I mean, don't know. But that's something that, you know, I can voice my opinion on how that's going on this podcast. But you know, that's what we leave Master Builders for. Master Builders Victoria. That's what we leave them for. I mean, we're a member of Master Builders, so they're a good advocate for direct communication to the government and so forth.
It's been a good chat so far, mate, and it's been a great episode. I think it's the perfect way to introduce yourself, the business, and the journey of the journey so far, and where the ultimate goal is. So maybe do you want to share, where can you envisage yourself, Cbuilt Properties, you know, for the next, say, 5, 10 plus years?
Yeah, look, I mean, I said before, I said to Danny, we don't want to create a monster, you know, within our business. So, and we've always had that strategy from day one. Because the bigger you are, the less time you have to spend with the most important things like your family and stuff like that. So having 2 directors, that actually takes a lot of the pressure off. I'm able to do those things, coach my son at basketball. So I don't want to, you know, I don't want that to change. I love doing that side of things. You also need your downtime too. So we want to build the business, and it's been, you know, you're always building your business, you're becoming bigger, and then you're contracting as well in the slow markets. So it's a hard thing to really expand, but you don't want to create a monster. We don't want to be a monster. We don't want to be building up there with, you know, your large volume builders or anything like that. We just want to stick to our custom good clients who value us and value our opinion and value our reputable brand, and and just keep building for those types of clients and investors. And we've got some, some really good clients that we've actually done numerous amount of work for, and referrals, etc. So. Yeah.
I'd love to finish off with this, mate. Maybe share a little bit about yourself personally, because I think this is one of the biggest parts around trust, and I know we've mentioned that word a lot, but maybe share a bit more about life away from the business, and in a rapid fire fashion as well. You don't need to go on, but obviously you've got a family, maybe who you go for in the footy, what do you love doing away from work, and what's your favourite food?
Yeah, D's.
Melbourne?
Go D's.
Yeah.
Yep. So I love the D's. Kids are getting into watching the footy now.
So how many kids do you have?
Two. Yep. And Cameron's got 2 kids, so they're all Melbourne supporters.
Yep.
Being passed on generations.
Good. That's good. I
second
like
gen.
that. Second gen.
So it's good. What I do at home, I'm pretty I'm pretty particular. I'm always building at home, doing things, doing something. I'm just as a hobby. I love basketball. Coach my son at basketball. I like that sort of that thing. The sort of Saturday get to basketball and coach the kids, and you want to try and see them sort of achieve and have fun at basketball. Definitely. And have fun at sport, and that's important to have too.
Yep.
I love running, jogging. Bit of fitness, and that's and just being on site. I like being on site too. But favourite food,
it's a tough one.
Probably my wife Jenna's lasagna. It's
spot
on.
Nice. It's a safe one, but I like it.
It's a safe one, and she's. I'll get credit. I'll get brownie points after that one. So.
Well, Clint, this has been great. I think it's been a great introduction to yourself, the business. And really, really looking forward to the next episode and seeing where this might go.
Yeah, thank you very much, Danny and Wade. It's been fun, and I'd like to say thanks to Slices Doreen for hosting the venue.